Welcome to Real Judaism with Rabbi Klapper. Unfiltered wisdom for Jewish life.
Okay, welcome everybody back. We're here discussing Parshas Vayigash. Parshas Vayigash is the grand finale of the reunion between Yosef and his brothers. And after the shock of revealing himself to his brothers, Yosef cries. And specifically, the pasuk says that Yosef and Binyamin cry on each other's necks. And Rashi here says an amazing thing. Rashi says that when Yosef fell on the neck of Binyamin and was crying, he was really crying because of the Churban Abayis. He was not crying because the two temples, the two Bati Mikdashim, Bayis Rishon and Bayis Sheni, which are in the Chelek, are in the portion of land of Binyamin, were going to be destroyed. And it says that Binyamin cried on the neck of Yosef because of the Mishkan Shiloh, which was around for over 350 years in Shiloh before it was destroyed, before it became batel during the war with the Plishtim. So Binyamin cried because that was from the Chelek Nachala, the part of land that was Yosef's, and Binyamin cried for that. It's kind of like a funny thing. Here you have this I can understand a very emotional reunion. You have two brothers, specifically closer brothers, because of all the brothers, only Yosef and Binyamin were from the same mother, from Rachel Imenu. The two of them were only the two of them from Rachel Imenu, so they had even a stronger bond between them. And they wept. They hadn't seen each other in 22 years. Why is this the place where we're discussing the Churban Abayis, where they're crying over the Churban Abayis? Why is this happening over here? So I'd like to suggest the following. We have to understand that the Avos HaKadoshim, when we talk about the Avos, we're not only talking about Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, we're talking about all the Shvatim as well, talking about Moshe Rabbeinu. The Avos HaKadoshim, they were concerned about Klal Yisrael. Their concern wasn't personal. Their concerns were always about what is going to be with Klal Yisrael. We are setting up the foundations of Klal Yisrael now. The future of the entire world, of all existence, of all the creation, is dependent on Klal Yisrael. And therefore, we who are setting up the foundations of this nation, who is going to be the nation of God, need to set it up in a way that it's going to be the best, the highest level of avodas Hashem that we could possibly have. This was the concern of all the Avos. This was their real concern. Therefore, Yosef and Binyamin realized something at that moment. See, going back to what we discussed last week, in Parshas Miketz, Yosef was putting on this whole show. Yosef was trying to, as we explained last week, he was trying to show himself to his brothers for them to recognize it. In the beginning of this week's Parsha is the massive showdown. If anybody wants to see, this is better than a movie. This is better than a movie. Read the Midrashim on the showdown between Yehuda and Yosef in the beginning of this week's Parsha. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. The back and forth between the two of them. Yosef came to the realization that there was a massive danger over here. The brothers were not going to leave without Binyamin. And it didn't make a difference to them. It didn't make a difference to them what they had to do in order to do that. The Medrash says that Yehuda told his brother Naphtali, go around Mitzrayim, see how many shukim are there, how many marketplaces are there in Mitzrayim. So he went, and I believe he said there were 13 marketplaces. So Yehuda said, great, no problem. There are 11 of us. Each one of you will destroy one, and I'll destroy 3. We are going to destroy Mitzrayim. And Yosef, again, we're talking about one person each to destroy a whole marketplace. The brothers had an incredible power. And they knew, we're not leaving here without Binyamin. Yosef, when he heard that, Yosef knew this was a very dangerous situation. Yosef knew that they very possibly could destroy Mitzrayim. That's what forced Yosef's hand to reveal himself. Yosef could not allow Mitzrayim to be destroyed. Mitzrayim was supporting the whole world. There was no food in the world. There would have been nothing left. The world would have been destroyed. Yosef was really terrified that this was actually going to happen, but really, Yosef wasn't ready to let go because we hadn't reached the toelis yet. We hadn't reached the tachlis of this whole story. And the tachlis was to do tshuva. The tachlis was to do real tshuva. And we hadn't reached it yet, but Yosef was stuck. He was stuck in a place where also he was fearful for his whole life. All the guards in Egypt were not going to be able to protect Yosef from his brothers. Yosef himself had a tremendous power, but still, it's all the brothers against him. Yosef therefore revealed himself. Yosef gave it up, and he revealed who he was to his brothers. The Medrash says that they were so shocked. They were so shocked, different opinions. Some say that, according to one opinion, the Medrash, they died. They were so shocked. And they had to have Tchias HaMesim, bring them back to life. It was so shocking. It was so that they were blown away. The Gemara, the Medrash says over here that this is the same way when a Kodesh Baruch Hu reveals himself after a person dies. Just like Yosef says, Ani Yosef. And those two words, Ani Yosef, all of a sudden, boom, everything changed. The whole life changed. So too, when a Kodesh Baruch Hu reveals to us and he says, Ani Hashem. And then what's a person supposed to come to Hashem? He's going to be, the shock is going to be, how come I didn't realize this before? How did I live my life? How did I live my life? If I would have known this, but it was there. Hashem is revealing himself all over the place, just like Yosef was. Just like Yosef was dropping hints here and here and there. He didn't see it. The brothers didn't see it. So too Hashem is showing us everywhere that he's here. And only when he says, Ani Hashem, that's when you wake up. So getting back to our question, why now are Yosef and Binyamin crying about the Churban Abayis? The reason why is because if you can get a shock like that could be amazing, wow, but that's not pure tshuva. A person can see an amazing miracle. Wow, he didn't believe in God, and now he sees in front of his eyes an amazing miracle. But it's not necessarily going to become a Baal Tshuva because of that. Chazal tell us, Masha shifcha ro'a al yam, afilu Yechezkel ben buzi lo ra. Meaning that even a shifcha, a maidservant, when she passed through the Yam Suf and Kriyas Yam Suf, she saw amazing nisim. She saw more than the greatest Nevi'im, the Navi Yechezkel, the maidservant Churban Perek Aleph of Yechezkel, which talks about how Yechezkel's vision of Malachim and what Shemayim looks like. The Shifcha al Yam saw even more than that. But she remained a Shifcha. She didn't elevate herself. Because just seeing miracles, seeing something, experiencing something is not going to make you do tshuva. Doing tshuva means in your heart. Doing tshuva means I've thought about what I've done and I realize I made a mistake. I realize it. Yosef had to reveal himself and give them that shock. They never came to that realization on their own. They never came on their own to a place of tshuva where I actually thought about what I did and I realized that it was wrong on my own. They never came to that. And because of that, Yosef and Binyamin, whom Binyamin was not involved in this sale at all. He wasn't there. He was a little boy at the time. He wasn't even there. He didn't even know, just like Yaakov. Yosef and Binyamin realized, if we don't have this koyach of tshuva, if we're not creating that yisoid, that foundation of introspection, it's going to lead to Churban Abayis. It's going to lead to the Churban Abayis. Rishon and Sheni and Shiloh, all of the Churban Abayis, even though each one had a different reason. But essentially, the power of tshuva always has the ability to save us, to change us, to build us back up. And if we don't make a kinyan in that, if we don't have that in our very foundations, then we're not going to be able to hold on. And we're going to lose things in life. And we're going to have other ways of Hashem pushing us in order to do tshuva. And that's that shock, the shock of the Churban Abayis. We're going to have to do that in that direction. instead of doing in the direction of introspection. Here's where we see a person has to realize Hashem doesn't want to punish us. Hashem doesn't want to hit us. Hashem wants us to look internally and see, where can I improve? What can I do better? Because Hashem wants that closeness with us. Hashem doesn't want to have to bring it out through a bad way. Hashem wants us to work on ourselves, look deep into ourselves. Where am I lacking and where can I improve? And if we do it for ourselves, then it will be there in the foundations for our children. Shkoach.
Thank you for joining Real Judaism, where we explore Torah's wisdom for real life. Created by J Foundations and produced by Eli Podcast Productions. Find more episodes at realjudaism.org and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.